Stefan just told it, and also Jan before from Hitfox, he said like HR is kind of the key element, if we speak in the Heureka terms, for a successful startup. And before we have our final session with Lukas and Christoph Meyer, I'm pretty proud that Gitta Blatt is here today from Wooga, one of the probably most successful and fastest growing internet companies here in Berlin. She's working there since 2011 and has seen a lot of faces, I guess, and she's definitely the right person to tell you something about whom to hire not, and what you have to take care of while you're building up your company. So do me a favor, give a warm applause for Gitta, and I hope you're ready for the setup.
Sebastian, thank you. I hate talking about money. I love talking about talents. But before I start to do so, let me ask you one question. Do you play computer games? Give me a sign. Do you play computer games? Okay, do you play online games? And the worst question would be, do you play games every day? And that is what the vision of Wooga is about. So today, 50 million gamers are playing Wooga games. To put that into perspective, this is 15 times the population of Berlin. So coming back to our topic about talents, I like to start with hiring the world to Berlin, then keeping the world to Berlin, and finally doing a short reflection on, is this a typical startup culture? We are setting this up. So we do have all employees, whom we like to call Woogas, in one loft here in Prenzlauer Berg, 2 or 5 minutes away. It is essential to us to have them all in one space to keep communication soft and easy. We are 280 Woogas today, and we are out of 40 nations. Only this year, 50 Woogas started their adventure here in Berlin. We are 3 years old, founded by Jens Begemann and Philipp Möser 3 years ago, and doubled each year the organization since these 3 years. We try to be as international as possible. We do have 40 nations on board and try to even grow that. And for each nation we hire, we do have a flag in the HR office. Well, where do we find all these talents? Honestly, on all continents, we do not have any preference. And 55% of the Wooga are non-Germans. We do not have any preference, and it depends on the universities that we have major 3 countries where, beside the Germans, the Woogas are coming from, namely US, Brazil, and also the Nordics. So let's share short learnings. We learned during our process of growing last year that it is really crucial to us to be personal. Many wonder that we do have photos as well as the personal email addresses displayed on our web page. Well, this takes away a lot of barriers, especially calling to the talents through all kind of time switches all over the world. You always know to whom you are talking to. You will not find any email address like HR@Wooga or recruiters@Wooga, and I think this made a huge difference. Learning too, and this is top important, it's personality fit over skill. Sometimes it is easier to find the right skills. But as long as the team is not convinced that this is the right fit, we won't place an offer. We have one saying at Wooga that means, in doubt, don't hire. And we really take that serious. Here in my example, you see a colleague searching for a colleague. So it's not the manager displaying the job post, because it makes a huge difference to the candidate to talk to the team and not only to the lead. Third learning last year out of this speedy growth has been that it is about young talents. My learning is university first. You see my colleague Anne here, and Anne indeed did a better job than tons of headhunters out there I hired all over the world. Into that perspective, we also learned that Woogas are Wooga's best recruiters. I had tons of headhunters who were well paid and among the top 10 in the certain areas, so for East Europe, for South Europe, tons in US and also in UK, but they all could not solve one question, especially the fit. We say thank you to all our Woogas recommending their network. And we say thank you with a gift they really, really wanted to have. And there are very different choices, like a bungee jump or a weekend trip with a girlfriend, or even a music box, which you see here, or television. But also things like a Gesundheitsmatratze. So main point is it makes them happy. Last learning in hiring is don't follow the hippo. The hippo at Wooga is the highest paid person's opinion, and we don't care about that. Forget about the title and try to involve all experts so that you get a really huge variety of input. It's not about overruling, it's about feedback and involvement so you get best ideas out of your talents. So Dirk, it would be great if you could play the 1-minute clip for a short insight behind the scene.
Come on guys, let's go on the Wooga tour.
Our Woogas come from over 40 countries around the world, and we're all based here in Berlin. We all communicate in one language, games. Well, actually it's English. We have an awesome kitchen where we all meet up and we hang out, and it's the hub of everything here at Wooga. We have independent teams here at Wooga. They have full ownership and are fully responsible for every success that they get here. They decide how they make the game, and they have the full freedom of all the decisions. Over half of our employees have relocated here to Berlin. We make games for every country in the world, and our people here reflect that. Guys, see you next time at Wooga.
Thank you. Yeah, so you see, it's all about the atmosphere and the talents. And the atmosphere belongs to our second point, namely keeping them in Berlin. We learned that onboarding and integration, especially with such huge internationality, is really crucial. Here you see pictured Janina, and she takes care with the whole team to make our Woogas feel happy immediately after signing the contract. So you should stay in touch, and especially in that crucial phase where somebody has to cancel the former job and has some weeks to pass before they arrive at your end. So relocating into another country, especially with a lot of administrative stuff in Germany, is always a challenge. And it needs support from the very first minute with visa, work permittance, or whatever it makes to make it as smooth as possible. Learning too, it is not about money, it is about engagement. If you arrive in Berlin and are not used to this many Kietzes, you're really lost. So we do not pay relocation packages, but we have Steffi as our relocation and accommodation manager to, in the moment, handle 20 flats, which we rent on Wooga account so that everybody who relocates for us to Berlin is welcome, free of charge to have a flat in walking distance for the first 6 to 8 weeks. During that time, we help them to find their new home. Learning 3, integration and keep going. So to arrive in your work environment, in this case at Wooga, is one thing, and to get a Berliner another. But to really feel home is essential to keep your talents. So we established Holly as being a partner for a lot of personal concerns. She's a US girl and helps to overcome the cultural shock many do have, even if they love Berlin. So what is she doing? She's really taking care about a lot of small stuff, like helping if you want to bring your family, or very operative things like I get to do my DSL cable done, or my driving license transferred, or I have to show up at the Bürgeramt, and unfortunately, even in the capital of Germany, they do only speak German. So a lot of stuff to get set in the first weeks and months, and again, it is not about money, it is about engagement. What is also essential is that you encourage them to network. The base of feeling home is friendship, and friendship you do by a lot of network. So we try to support this by a lot of non-work meetups, like you see here in the picture, our monthly starter session, where we go for something like 2 hours for a nice lunch. But there is much more, and it's all just the first step for getting known to each other. Summary, not money, but engagement. So let's summarize. Is this a typical startup culture, and is it scalable? Well, what about the culture? So the loft and open space are why Woogas do not have closed offices. Maybe the best way to show Wooga is to show where Jens and Philip, our co-founders, are sitting. They are sitting in one of the biggest rooms we have, every minute available and approachable to talk to. This might be typical if you found your organization and you're quite small. Wooga is grown up now, but we still take care about exactly these kind of startup vibes. Bikes, oh, I know I need a car park. Well, how do you scale your workforce? First, take care that you keep small teams, keep them responsible, and make them feel responsible for their own products. Well, why the bike? Being proactive and being responsible, it is also necessary that everybody has access to nearly all the information, what is the case at Wooga. And it has to be authentic and really transparent and open-minded. So for example, Jens, as our CEO, cycles to work. Coming from different work environments, you know that this is a rare thing. So there is no car hierarchy or other symbols of fostering hippos. Focus. we try to ask ourselves not, is this a good idea? But is this an idea what is better than everything I'm working on? This might be an easy finding for a small company, but I think the important thing is to keep this focus and being able to switch your focus and agile projects as fast as the competition is asking for. Finally, personal development. To come from this perspective of focus, we ask our employees to define their own goals. It is not that you wait for the management setting your goals. It is about proactiveness and also, again, self-responsibility. We ask them, what do you like to do in 1 year or even longer time? And we try to support this goal. How do we do it? We do have organized trainings, but we also give them an educational budget. And they get some extra days off to spend on their development. So it is their responsibility and their proactiveness how they work on their career. So how do we find the talents? Hire by being personal and make sure it's the right fit. Make sure they land their feet in Berlin and help keeping the startup vibe, proactiveness and self-responsibility. And good luck with your talents, because that's much more worse than having enough money. Yeah, sure, sorry. Of course, I give you the chance to answer, or like to answer your questions if there are some. Yes, please.
What's your experience hiring engineers now in Berlin today versus 24 months ago, 12 months ago, 6 months ago?
It didn't change that much. I think the talent is hard and fight, so many are looking for. We have the luxury that we do have good universities here in Berlin, but for us it would not work to keep with our search within Berlin, so we have to go international. But as I said, the mix is 50-50, so it is quite successful also on the engineer side.
What about Eastern Europe? Are you able to bring people in Eastern Europe?
Sorry, it's too loud.
Are you able to get people from Eastern Europe into Berlin, or is it too
Yes.
difficult?
Yes, we are. I think the most difficult is to get the US guys over here, because they have such huge choice in front of the door, and it's even a huge shift. But from Nordics, East Europe, and also South European are really happy to relocate and start their international career. They are thinking about starting careers mainly when they come from overseas in London or Berlin. So Berlin is really kind of good talent pool to get. I had more difficulties in other cities to get talents. Some more questions?
Yes. I would like to know, how big is your HR team?
Sorry, again? There you are. Sorry, the light is so strong.
How many people do you have in your HR team?
I do have 20 people for 300 Woogas. This is not a classical team setup with an accommodation manager and somebody taking care about all the small stuff. But we lost some talents last year, which I didn't want to lose, and to whom I was on search for a long time. So we tried to listen and understand what makes a difference and where can we be better. And it's not about the typical administrative stuff. So I need a huge recruiting crew to find all these talents, but I also need a dedicated team with all these different functions to take care of them and really make them happy.
Thank you.
So why didn't you outsource this work of, I mean, 20 people, it's a large number. Aren't there any agencies that you can outsource this work?
Be personal. We think it really makes a difference if you understand your own colleagues. And it has a lot to do with trust also, because I need I need the honest feedback on what they would need most. And I think to delegate, especially this trust topic to an outsourced company is highly difficult. I mean, I tried it on the recruiting side with the consultants helping and headhunting. What is more common also, but even this didn't work out. And I spent quite some money.
Can you give a few tips on how to implement culture when you're a relatively small startup? Maybe you're encroaching your 10th employee, and it's starting to feel a little less personal between the relationship between the founder and those employees. Can you talk about maybe a few tips on how you've done that at Wooga?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think we have that done. This is exactly the challenge we are facing, because I think, like you say, within the Kanban concept, like 100 people, you know everybody around you and things are quite easy. And we try to follow our philosophy, like not giving advices or following the management instructions, but common sense. That means a lot of interaction, a lot of communication, and to keep this slim and quick and fast is the challenge. So we found some recipes for ourselves to keep teams small, and as we grow to 300 now, we divided ourselves into studios and then have different gaming teams into these studios to, again, have a number of around 100 to maximum 150 people around a studio being involved with each other each day. So I think that might be the most important stuff, because all other you can structure out of this kind of small, fast, own responsible teams. But cross your fingers, we are not past that scaling situation. Okay? Thank you more than with a beer later on.